Hello, hello, and welcome to the Innovative Mindset Podcast. I'm your host, Isolde Trachtenberg, and I am working on becoming more mindful. That's one of the reasons that I'm doing these Mindful Friday episodes, because I think it's a lifelong thing we can do. We can be constantly improving our ability to be mindful, to be present. And one of the things that I'm doing regularly is trying to breathe through some challenging neighbors. I have to admit, they're loud all the time. And so I'm sort of dancing between raindrops. I'm recording between somebody stomping around upstairs. It's a little bit wacky, but I'm trying to breathe through it. So anyway, that happens sometimes. Yeah, I mean, what do we do with challenging neighbors if you feel like you can't talk to them and straighten things out? How do you handle it? What do you do? One of the things that you can do is sort of accept that things are the way they are. And that's an aspect of mindfulness, of being in the present moment. And as the wonderful Pema Chodron says, hopelessness is the release of all hope for an alternative to the present moment. That's in her book, When Things Fall Apart. And the first time I read that quote, it was revelatory. It revolutionized how I view almost everything. And I think it's one of my life lessons to keep coming back to that statement and reminding myself, yeah, the thing that causes that unhappiness or unease is trying to make things to be different than they actually are right now. This is not to say don't try to improve things, because I'm always on a kick to try and improve things, but getting all frustrated with the way things are in the moment wastes your energy instead of generating energy. So I'm trying to stay mindful and think of this as dancing between raindrops instead of trying to record a podcast episode between stomping and things sounding like there are ball bearings, big ball bearings, being dropped on my ceiling from the floor above. Anyway, one of the things that I'm trying to do every Friday is to choose a card from the Mindful Creative deck and describe to you the image on the card, and there's a word on each card that is an aspect of the human condition, and it's one that we can sort of ruminate on and contemplate. And I will be putting the card in the show notes so that you can see it if you would like to, or you can just listen to my description and then think about contemplating the aspect of the human condition that that word describes. So I'm literally, you can hear me shuffling the cards. I'm about to choose one. And here we go. And this week's card is, transformation. I love this card. It's a great card. It's about allowing things to transform or having them transform on you. And it looks like there's a flame, and flames are transformational, of course. And there's a one of the sort of Mexican candy skulls, and the Grim Reaper is also present in the card. And why do we have the Grim Reaper? Because some things, in order to live again, must die. And the best way to think about that for me is the leaves and trees, the deciduous trees in forests lose all their leaves. The leaves die off. They go from being green, and they, in the colder weather, they turn, yellow, red, orange, and brown, and then they will fall off. And the trees, frankly, look kind of dead or deadened in the wintertime. And then in the green up part, when there is what they call bud burst in the spring, those same trees, those same spots on the branches where the leaves can grow. How amazing is that? And in order for the one to happen, the other one must happen. So in order for us to have the rebirth of spring, we must have the death of winter. So that's one of the ways to look at transformation. Another way to look at transformation is fire, right? So if you think about a candle burning or a wood fire burning, energy can neither be created nor destroyed. So when we burn a candle, the candle goes away, but the energy of the candle remains. It is transformed into light and heat. And the same thing with wood, right? So there is ash left, the carbon that's left after a wood fire that is broken down into its component parts. We are carbon-based life forms, as are trees, for example. So that transformation takes place to give us wood and then to give us light and heat from the wood. That transformation is a physical one, but it's also in some ways an energetic one. So one thing that you could do today in order to look at how you view the transformations in your life is to contemplate whether or not A, you're an active participant in those transformations, and B, whether or not you rage against them or accept them. Now, some transformations you might want to rage against. I totally understand that. And yet, then the question to ask yourself is, are you wasting energy by raging at the transformation? Or is there a better way to spend your energy, to invest your energy, to make the changes you want to see as a consequence of that transformation so that you don't feel like you're hitting your head against the wall, but rather are using your energy to ride that wave of transformation into something new and different that will allow you to operate even better, more effectively, and from a more, dare I say it, magical and transformational place in the future. I hope that you've enjoyed today's Mindful Friday Innovative Mindset podcast episode. One of the reasons that I talk about mindfulness as a function or as a factor of innovation is because in order to be present for inspiration, in order to be available for those ideas to strike, we need to be aware of them coming. And building these mindfulness skills allows us to do that. So when transformation occurs, when change occurs in your life, you get to start thinking about how you're going to respond. Notice I said respond, not react to those changes. And I like to say that the difference between how you react or how you respond to a situation is the number of breaths you take between what happens and what you do about it. Let me say that again, just so you have it. The difference between a reaction and a response is the number of breaths you take between what happens and what you do about it. The more breaths, the more a response you make. The fewer breaths, the more reactive you will be. Again, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. This is Isolde Trachtenberg reminding you that this episode, like so far many of the episodes recently, is brought to you by Brain FM. It is an app that I use to do just about everything. I use it to meditate. I use it to sleep. I use it to do my deep work. I use it to create. I have the earbuds in and I'm playing it pretty much all day long. It allows me to be incredibly creative and productive, and I adore it. And just from me to you, I get a little discount. If you want to take the discount, 20%, head over to brain.fm/innovative mindset and grab your discount. And that's my little gift from me to you. I hope that you do that because I love the app and I sing its praises all the time. And yes, I am an affiliate, so if you do that through my little link, I will get a little bit of a fee for you having done that. I want to make sure that you know about that, but also I will never, ever, ever support or endorse anything I don't believe in wholeheartedly. Until next time, this is Isolde Trachtenberg reminding you to go out there and be creative.